everybody, and welcome to Nerd Dad's Gaming Lair. Tonight we're doing something other than gaming. We have some other nerdy stuff that we do that isn't necessarily video games, and this is one of those things. So, tonight my other obsession is going to be revealed. It is RC crawling. So this is my Redcat Gen 8 V2. I'm going to take you through a little bit about this machine and some cool stuff. As you can see, it's got a little Stormtrooper driver. His name is Stormy. We'll get into details on him in a minute. But anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of wrenching on my machines. I'm going to take you through this particular Gen 8 V2 and the Gen 8 that I'm building my daughter, which is a kit. I'll take you through some stuff on that. We're going to put some stuff in it together. I'll do some live wrenching. We can talk about it, ask questions, feel free. I'm also going to show you some crawling video that J-Dog and I took over the weekend of this particular crawler crawling. He also took his out. He has a Redcat Everest 10 that he just picked up. He's pretty excited about that. So he's probably going to do his own video featuring his Everest 10. But anyway, I'm going to take you through this Gen 8 in particular. So once again is the Gen 8 V2. And I'm going to put you on the... This is the Gen 8 V2. Obviously, I have Holmes Hobbies stickers in there because if you don't know what Holmes Hobbies is, that dude makes some terrific motors and small little company. Love to support them. Definitely going to have one of those in there, so I'll show you that in a minute. There's Stormy, the Stormtrooper, driving this Redcat. So that interior there, if you could see it, is 3D printed and painted. So it's painted black, and then I also painted it purple to match. So I'm not going to pop it out because it's a real pain to get in and out. But Stormy's in there. You can kind of see him grabbing a Coke. Let me move it in the camera a little bit better. You see he's grabbing a Coke there. He's got his other hand on the steering wheel. So he's definitely hanging out. I used a closed safety pin, the kind that you pin together for your seamstress, for the shift knob. It looks pretty good in there. I heated that sucker up, put it in as the shift knob. It's pretty cool. Some features about the Gen 8 V2. So this is obviously V2 of Redcat's iteration of creating their own crawlers. They used to rebrand crawlers from overseas and import them, and kind of cheap. It's still good, but a cheaper end item. This Gen 8 is the first in-house development of theirs, and this is the second iteration of the Gen 8. I'll show you the pack in a little bit, which is what Peyton's is being built on. That is a first generation Gen 8. So it's a little bit different, not much, but let's go through some specifics here. There's really good detail on this. It's got all the light buckets. It's got a grill with details behind it. It has the D-rings. This is not a stock Gen 8, so there's some stuff done to it that doesn't come on your typical Gen 8 V2. I do have the light kit in here. On the rear, let me turn it around for you. On the rear, it has some light buckets that are for tail lights, reverse lights, and brake lights, and those all do function. So when I use reverse on the transmitter, it actually flips the reverse lights on. When I let off the gas, it flips the brake lights on. All that good stuff works. Real nice Scout 2 licensed body, so it's an International Harvester Scout 2 licensed body. It comes pre-equipped with the wheel wells and flares, and not the mud. The mud is not come pre-equipped. And it has these nice bumpers. They're kind of chunky. The approach and departure angles are a little rough because of them, but it is scale. And the rear bumper actually even features a receiver hitch. You can put a trailer on here if you want to get that crazy. It did come in purple and green. I picked the purple, obviously. It didn't have this many scratches in it when I first got it. It's been on the rocks a few times, and it's quite dusty right now. And I applied all the stickers. I have a bunch of window stickers. One of those in there says Sasquatch Hunter. Kind of like it. And then it has some other item stickers for a lot of the products that I have in here. So we'll start with the outside because that's easy. I have the Incision machete wheels on here. So these are some bead locks, and I have Proline Hyrax tires mounted to those. I love the Hyrax. That's the Gen 8, or not the Gen 8, the G8 compound. They also have the Predator compound, which I kind of want to try. It's supposed to be pretty super sticky. So interested in that one. Let's pop her open. So one other cool feature about the Gen 8 is the body system. Is you notice there's no body clips. This doesn't use hidden clips or traditional body clips. This uses Velcro, which is really cool. Eventually it will get magnets, but for now I still have the stock Velcro. I'm just gonna Velcro this body off. And I need to remove my light kit harness over here because it's gonna get stuck. Alright, so inside the body, as you can see, I have my 3D printed section for the interior. It has these nice wheel wells inside. So it has an inner set of wheel wells to go with the outer set of wheel wells, and that's how they use the Velcro system. So the Velcro system sits inside of that double wheel well retention. It gives the body a nice place to hold on to, and then it also uses these stiffeners here that are actually made to hold the spare tire mounts. Uses these stiffeners to give the body some nice rigidity. I mean, it's real stiff. It's real good. Anyway, so that's the body. I have the light kit on it, pre-installed. You can see them in the buckets. I got everything tucked away in here. And for the crawler itself, this is she. So we'll go through some of the parts because very little of this is stock anymore. I've done a bunch of stuff to this in the little bit of time that I've had it. On top of the wheels and tires, which are not factory. In fact, I have the factory wheels sitting over here. It comes on these silver plastic bead locks. Hey, what's up, Jerry? Thanks for hanging out. This isn't gaming tonight, obviously. It's one of my many other obsessions, RC crawling. So it's a little different take on a video. But anyway, what's stock on this Gen 8 is licensed Interco Super Swampers. That's these on silver plastic rims that are bead locks. They're nice. The foams are a little bit, they're a little stiff, I'd say, these foams in there. So the machetes that I have and the Proline tires, there's a lot of mud in this, but pretty soft comparatively. You get a lot of wall flex on rocks. It conforms real nice. I'm a person that likes the softer side on foams. I'm not really into super stiff foams or two-stage foams. I really like this softness. I don't mind some wall deformation going over a rock. That's fine with me. Alright, moving on. So you did see the light kit harness. There's the light kit box. It's the actual Redcat light kit system. That's why it works all the brakes and headlights, taillights, all that stuff function as they're supposed to. It has a lot of excess wire, but I've got it all tucked away in here. Another feature that's cool in the V2 and the original Gen 8 is this waterproof receiver box. So inside here is my radio transceiver, and for this, I'm not running the stock radio. I am running this RC4GS by RadioLink. I like this little radio. It has an LCD display on it, which is kind of nice. The flip-up antenna, pretty ergonomic, fits my hand well. It's a 4-channel, so I am going to put eventually a winch on here, and I do have an in-out for the winch on this radio, and then I'll have an extra channel. I'm not sure what I want to do with that one yet. But no, I do like this radio very much. In fact, the batteries are trying to come out. Wow. I took a tumble down a hill the other day while I shot some of this footage I'm going to show you, and popped the batteries out of this here radio. So anyway, moving on. So we covered the waterproof. I'm not going to say that it really is waterproof because obviously there's a big old hole to the antenna, but the waterproof receiver box in this. I also have put a Holmes Hobbies Crawlmaster Sport 10-turn 550 motor in here, and it's running the stock 17-tooth pinion. Inside of this transmission is a brass pinion gear, 17-tooth, and then plastic spur gears, or plastic spur gear and then plastic gears. The transfer case also has plastic gears. That is next on my list to be upgraded. I'll pull this battery tray off at some point. We'll do that on a live stream if you guys want. I'll tear this transmission apart and we'll put some steel parts in with aluminum casings because that's really where I want to go with it. Up front we have the stock steering servo. I have not changed that out yet. It's a 25 kilogram, just a cheapy one you can get off of Amazon. In fact, I bought the same one for Peyton's that I'm going to put together, so I'll show you that while it's out of the car. I have swapped out the stock ESC for a Hobbywing 1080 quick run. Really good drag brake on this, really good programmability. One of the cool parts about this particular ESC is the programming card that it comes with. I'll show you on this. So rather than have to click a bunch of buttons and listen for beeps to program the ESC, which if anybody who's done that, especially with the, I've had some Hobby Wing quick run brushless ESCs before. I've had to do that. It's a real huge pain. Like you're watching lights blink and you're listening for beeps. Huge pain. So this card is so much simpler. You plug it right into this quick run. You go through all of the items and settings here, and it lists out everything. You probably can't read it on the camera because it's real small, but it lists out all the options for you. It continues on the back. There's a total of like 15 groups of settings on the ESC. It's really nice. Great drag brake. Nice BEC for what I'm running. It's kind of cool. They have a digital on-off switch, which is better than the tactile ones. Yeah, the Mystic playmat, man. It's getting a little bit dirty, but I am super into Magic cards, and this table being just flat regular black doesn't show up very well, so I just threw this down there. But yeah, this is one of my old Magic the Gathering playmats. It makes a really nice work surface for wrenching. Anyway, so that's the ESC. It does come out in an XT60 connector, which I have transitioned into a Deans because all of my batteries are Deans. Some more about this particular rig. Factory aluminum shocks, so aluminum bodies with preload knobs. They're pretty good. They're a little soft. This thing is super heavy, especially now after a bunch of stuff that I've done to it. So the stock shocks are just really soft. I'm actually looking at some stiffened springs for it because it tends to want to lean all the way to one side a lot. There's the shot of the factory bumpers inside those stock tube bumpers. Really nice big battery tray. I've been running. Well, let me pull out my battery box here. I'm running these right now. These are some gold black 3S 5000 MOS with Deans. So they work pretty well in this rig. They barely fit in here. In fact, you got to kind of like finagle it to fit correctly because it's just a little too long for this box. So you got to like get the back lined up, and then the front actually hits on this transmission mount. What I'm going to do, I think, is modify this battery box. I'm going to shave this plastic right here so that the front of my battery can hit right up against this transmission without being at a weird angle. Because this is a flat pack, and although I don't anticipate it bending and bursting a cell, I don't want that to happen. So I'd rather my rig not catch fire if I don't have to. All right, so that's basically it for the top side. We covered the shocks, the shock towers. There are holes for body mounts if you want to get into putting another body on here. Completely doable. I like the Scout body, so I'm gonna keep it. Let's flip her over. So on the bottom, this is the V2. If you'll notice, anybody out there that knows anything about the Gen 8s, they have that horrible belly bump right here. In fact, Peyton's does have the belly bump because it's a pack kit for a regular Gen 8 is not a V2. So she has a belly bump, but this V2 does not. They fixed that problem in the V2. Because of the divorce transfer case down here, they set it real low for some reason. They wanted to get a little more low center of gravity, so they put a bump in there. Not great for hanging up on the rocks, but it has been resolved. This does come stock with all metal links. These have not been modified. It has the stock drive shafts. They are just plastic sliders, but they do have metal ends, which is kind of nice. It has some work done when it comes to the axles. These are the stock axle housings with the stock metal diff cover, which is nice. Inside of here is a machined spool with obviously the ring and pinion gear. I did change out the steering links. I didn't do anything with the suspension links, but I did put the Club 5 Husky links for steering. So that's the Panhard, the drag bar, and the tie rod are all the Club 5. And I put actually had the problem, and I'm going to show you the video of this. I won't show you this part because you can't really see what happened, but I lost a bolt over here where this link stacks, and I put a cotter pin in, so it's got a little more flex than I would like it to have. Cotter pin is not really made for that, but it's what they had at Home Depot until I can get a screw ordered for that. Also, because this thing is so top heavy, that Scout body is pretty heavy, and it's a tall rig anyway, I've put some Trio brass components down here. So this is a portal axle design. So in the front, I have full brass portal covers, back and front portal covers. So the knuckles brass and the covers brass. I also have the C-arms, are all solid brass. The plastic housing itself, I think I'm going to leave plastic. I think it'll be easier in the long run to have this take a little more flex. It's pretty high nylon plastic. I don't anticipate it shattering. I think it'll flex a little better. If I went to aluminum and I hit this on a rock really hard, I have a feeling I'd put a hole in it. So I kind of want to stick with the plastic here. Plus, it's like $10 to replace one of these axle housings in plastic. But I did do brass on all the outers, just because I wanted the metal there for one, because that does take a beating. There's already a lot of scratches on this C-arm, and I wanted the weight. I also did the same thing on the rear. So I have the inner brass housings on the rear. The outers are supposed to be here, but Amazon has lost them, so they're not here yet. But when I do get them, I will do a video putting them on. It takes a little while to get these housings open and all that stuff. I also did order some new shock springs, like I said, but it came with new shocks. So it's a possibility I'll take these shocks out too, and we'll do a shock replacement video. I do like these stock shocks. I may just change the oil out and put a firmer spring on it, but we'll see. But anyway, this is my Gen 8 V2, and so what I like to do now is show you guys a little bit of video of it crawling. Let me switch over to that real quickly. Alright, so this is a video that J-Dog actually helped me with. He had his Everest 10, and I have this Gen 8 with the GoPro mount on top. You can see how it leans real good. That's kind of why I want to put new shock springs in here, stiffen it up a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna crawl over this can, and the perspective doesn't really show it, but some of this stuff is pretty big. You know, this ravine that this truck is in right now is basically as big as the truck. Thanks, Colton. Yeah, J-Dog did some of the camera work, so thank him. This camera work did itself because it's just mounted at the top of the car. But we'll see what happens in a minute, right there. So I rolled it over. Yeah, I definitely. That's because it's so top heavy, man. It is really top heavy. So I'm looking forward to the rear outer portal brass coming in, because that's gonna help quite a bit. I've also got a new pinion gear, so I'm gonna lower the gear ratio a bit. Right now it's about 52 to 1, somewhere in there with this Crawlmaster motor. So we're gonna lower it way down, not way down. We're gonna go down a couple teeth on the 17 tooth pinion gear. I think I'm gonna be running like a 14 tooth. Those are all Mod 1 gears, so big beefy gears. Go down a little bit, and then we'll get up to. I want to get up to somewhere around a 60 to 1 ratio for the gear ratio. I think that'll be where I want to live with this thing. But anyway, it's a lot of fun to crawl. It'll go up almost anything at this point, especially with these Hyrax tires. Those things are awesome. I love these Hyrax tires. So anyway, I'm going to show you a little bit more footage of this thing crawling, and then we're going to wrench on Peyton's pre-assembled chassis kit, because I got some stuff in for it today. We're going to put a motor in it, we're going to put a radio receiver in it, we're going to put a servo in it, wheels and tires, and probably the fender wells. So, alright, I'm going to show you guys this footage real quick because it's not my favorite camera angles, so we haven't figured out how to film, and it's kind of an acquired skill that a lot of people who make videos for this stuff have, and I don't have it. So what we've got is a lot of POV footage for you, which is, you know, I like it, but I get that it's not the best representation of how the car functions. So we're gonna work on getting some better shots. I'm actually 3D printing. You saw my 3D printed interior, so I'm 3D printing a ring for the receiver so I can one-hand drive that thing. But anyway, this is taken at Hell's Gate, which is not that far from here. There's a railroad track just to the back of this. Yes, I did drive it through many a plant. There's J-Dog's Everest 10 up there in front of us, making the climb. So this was taken yesterday. We spent basically all day Sunday out on the rocks. It's a real good time. There's a little bit of cactus over here. I think I ran over some of it a little bit ago. But yeah, some pretty good flex. You'll see that these are the Interco Super Swampers on the stock rims. I had not at this point put the Incision machetes on. Those came in actually while we were out filming this, but a little bit after this shot, I dropped that tie rod bolt and completely lost steering. So I walked the mile back to the car, only to find that I didn't have a bolt long enough to replace it. But yeah, it's a pretty good shot of the front flex there and going over some rocks. This thing just eats them for breakfast, man. It doesn't really care. Especially with that weight, that low center of gravity weight, there's not a lot that's going to stop this thing, other than rolling over on the side. Which it does. So, that was another take at that same ravine that killed me the first time and I rolled over in. This is after the Incision wheels, so this is with the Hyrax tires on it. This is a pretty good ravine, man. It's like, I want to say it's 200 or so feet long, and it's as deep as the car, and just, you know, really ridgy. So it's a real good time to drive through. It's kind of a slow drive, so this is actually everybody, welcome back to Nerd Dad's Gaming Lair. I'm sorry about that. For some reason, my streaming software just decided to crash and burn. So this is going to be now 2 videos. Okay, so I don't know why it crashed and burned, but back to where we were. I was showing you some footage of this thing crawling. I was just getting to the good parts. So I'm going to go back to that now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's crawling. We're still running behind the Everest 10. Up there, the Everest 10 is a very different rig. So it has really wide tires, it's very high, a lot of inherent flex. It's more of a comp crawler. The Gen 8 is definitely a scaler. Look at it, look at sidewall flex, man. These Hyrax and the soft foams, I love it. Good sidewall flex. It doesn't really, it doesn't twist so much as it does just flex in. So anyway, back to the Everest 10. It's a really capable little crawler. He's going to throw hopefully some brass weight in that thing, and we'll see it crawl real well. But we're supposed to go to a meet this Sunday. Hopefully we'll get some video of it then, maybe a little bit more crawling. There should be a lot of crawlers at the meet on Sunday. There's actually a local group. They go out every Sunday to this same place, and we crawl it. So it's a pretty new thing. Lots of adventures to be had. So we'll get some video of all the guys there crawling, and it'll be a good time. Alright. So we're still in this ravine. It's a really long ravine, but again, it's hard to tell with the camera angle. This is hanging off to the right, the passenger side of the vehicle, but some of these things are really tall and steep. They don't look like it because it's handling it so well, but some of the stuff is bigger, way bigger than the car. And it's just approaching it, grabbing it, and going. The Hyrax are really to blame for that. The Hyrax tires are just terrific. I'd love to see what they can do. These are the Gen 8s. I'd love to see what the Predator compound can do because it's even more sticky. The one thing I will say, if you've ever bought these tires, let me know how they smell because I thought it was horrible. I opened the package and it was just really gross. And I touched the fresh tires with my hands and like they still smell a little funny. It smells like you've been digging in the toilet a little bit. But I think it's just the vulcanized rubber. It's pretty gross. But whatever that compound is made of, yes, this is in Lubbock proper, so it's a little bit outside of town, but it's still in city limits. So this is actually very near Buddy Holly's grave, which is about 500 feet in the other direction in the cemetery. So this is behind the cemetery, by some railroad tracks, and actually toward the end of this video, you'll see the railroad track. They've done a lot of graffiti on it. They've done some graffiti on some of the section we're in here. In fact, there's some at the very end of this trail. I don't know if you can see it, but they've definitely painted it up. But anyway, this ravine was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time in it. We found a couple other good spots you're going to see here. I trimmed about 4 hours worth of footage down to this 15-minute chunk. So we'll go through some of this, and then we'll wrench on the pack kit for Peyton. I got a bunch of parts in for hers today from teamredcatshop.com. Yeah, tons of stuff for her. So it's going to be a really fun week filled with putting this thing together for her. She's been asking me every day what the status of the truck is. So I will show you the pack here in a minute, and we'll get started on that. But I gotta show you some of this crawling footage. And next time, like I said, hopefully we get different angles for you. This was a This is learning footage for us. So we really just use the GoPros mounted directly to our cars. Not the best, but anyway. Yeah, this is a pretty steep decline, and I took this video because it shows the drag brake and the flex in the sidewall. So this is a pretty steep V of a ravine, and I'm kind of straddling it. Yeah, look at that sidewall flex, man. A lot of people would say I would need a 2-stage foam because of that, and a little bit more stiffness, but I like the conformity of that tire. I like that it's going to get on that rock and conform and go. Especially the kind of rocks we have in this area, they're not smooth. They're really rough and have jagged edges. So conforming to that thing is really helpful. If they were really smooth rock, it may make a lot of sense to claw at them a little bit. But where we're at, it's really hard, like limestone, jaggedy rocks. They're powdery, they're jagged. You just want to kind of suck them in and grab them. Yeah, so I actually took this video twice. I did one with a top view like this, and then in a minute you'll see it from the side view. But this is going up a pretty steep incline. It's just a rock pile. And most of this stuff is loose rock, and it's just going over it, man. I don't even have to slow down for it, really. It just takes it. It's a pretty steep incline. It's about 40-ish degrees, and it's just a loose pit. It just takes it and you ask for more. So there's a little bit of the side view of the same thing. Come down over there, and I went a little fast down there, so I probably should have slowed down a bit. I wasn't letting the drag brake hang me. I was trying to kind of figure out what the drag brake is going to do in this 1080 Hobby Wing, since it's new and I have it programmed. I think I have the drag brake set on this for 80% right now, but I don't think I want to bring it up any. I think it's right where I want it to be. It stops enough, and it'll creep down a hill really slowly. If you just let go, it'll eventually creep down on its own. It's kind of where I want it to be. So, yeah, I just drive over all the plants, man. Don't avoid any of it. No problem. Keep going. Just drive over it. But as you can see, the stock servo is doing a pretty good job. It's not the fastest servo, but it'll push those tires, man. That's all you need. I have not burned it out yet. I'm not really in the kind of rock that would pin the wheel, but yeah. Alright, so I found this little spot. These are actually bike trails. The majority of this area is bike trail. So they've made this wooden ladder out of landscape timbers. So they're 4x4s rounded off on two sides. They've made this wooden ladder joined with, it looks like steel cable in a sleeve, and just laid it up there and filled it with rock to keep it. It takes a little bit to get on because the gaps are actually wider than my tires. So I got to get in the right angle to get up on it. But I eventually do. And it's kind of a lumpy, bumpy way up, going up this thing. But it was definitely fun to climb. I mean, there was no way this truck wasn't going to be able to do it. It was always going to be able to do it. It's just you get a real lurchy climb out of it. It's, again, pretty steep. I had a hard time climbing up this myself. So, pretty steep angle on this thing. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was an awful lot of fun. You hear the motor, probably. I can't hear, I don't have my headphones on. But the motor's going, and it just lugs, man. The Crawlmaster in this, that Holmes Hobbies motor that's in my rig, is stellar. I could have sprung for a Pro, or maybe even I think a Magnum. I could have got a Magnum, the 5-slot twisted, or a Torquemaster. But I went with the Crawlmaster Sport because it was a cheap motor. I think it was 20 bucks. It's a 5-slot. It's a 550. Well made. That's the 10-turn. And it just goes, man. It drives smooth. Combined with the Hobby Wing ESC, the low speed response is great. Highly recommend it. Real simple upgrade to your rig. Yeah, all the way. There wasn't a whole lot wrong with the stock motor. I believe it's a 17-turn, actually. It's a 17-turn 550 Redcat stock motor. There's nothing wrong with that, but I like the low end torque. So I went up to 3S, went lower gear ratio. So as John Holmes would say, volt up, gear down. That's what I'm working on. Yeah, so that was a good little pit to fall into. The nose of the vehicle fell into it pretty well, but it came out of it just fine. Going back down, the same thing. So the drag brake's working really well for me here. It's really not doing anything I don't tell it to do. Very, very sensitive on the controls. A lot of people would suggest going brushless in a crawler. I don't think I'm ever going to go brushless with this thing. I don't foresee the need. This brush motor is doing fine, especially for the weight of this truck. This thing is about 10 pounds with the battery in it and all the brass that's on it. About 10 pounds, so definitely a big one. I think this is one of the last trails I went down. Oh, down. It's actually up. It's a very steep incline. There's some tree roots up here in a little bit, but what this is actually from the basin down by the river, all the way up on the top of where the railroad tracks would have been. They've been since removed, but all the way up top. It's a good little like trail climb. It's not really a bunch of rock, but pretty good trail crawl. There's a bunch of twigs. I kept getting twigs stuck in my links. They get up above the axle and just stick in there. It's a lot of open space down there, so they kind of jab up. But, it's a lot of fun to crawl out here. We'll definitely have to hit this again with some different camera angles. Yeah, we'll show you more of the area. It's a good little place, but yeah, they come up on these tree roots. I mean, there's not a lot stopping this truck. It'll take just about anything we have out here in West Texas, central West Texas. I want to see it on some bigger rock formations. I'll try to find some. We may make some trips out to there's a few canyons around here. We may make some trips out to those. See if we could find any bigger rock formations. Between J-Dog and I, we should be able to find something. It just takes it and keeps on coming. It's real nice. I like these little trail runs. We walked about 4 miles in this one setting, so it's real good for you. I did fall a bunch of times, so and that part wasn't so great for me. There's some real steep inclines on the sides of the railroad tracks. You gotta kind of fishtail up them. But this thing, I did it so slow, I didn't have to fishtail up at all. And then I hit a ravine that I couldn't see, and it flipped over on its side. Which it's going to flip over on its side. Side hilling is not this thing's specialty. Anyway, I did that and wound up having to climb up. That's when I busted the batteries out of my transmitter and cut my leg up. But it's all part of it. Look at all the trash, man. People just leave trash everywhere on these trails. I didn't bring a bag with me, but next time I will, and let's pick some stuff up, because it's just so trashy. They go for bike rides or hikes, and they just leave stuff everywhere. I don't understand that. We didn't leave a single piece of trash out there while we were there that we caused, but I should have brought a bag so I could pick some up. Next time I will. Yeah, this is a pretty steep, loose area there. It keeps going. Those high racks are pretty good at a combination tire. And this is a log, so this is actually several logs on top of each other, but I mean, it just one shot goes, man. I pulled up to it, I got it on the, I veered to the right so I'd miss my front bumper, that approach angle. Just up and over. Another can. People trash everywhere. Crazy. Anyway, I think J-Dog and I are about to exit, so this is the exit out of this area. Some of the bike paths. They make nice little ruts so they can go up and down over them and have a little fun. It's fun for the cars too. Yeah, I let my drag brake go on that one. I didn't use it at all. It doesn't need it. I knew it was on the other side, it's fine. You see the tire tracks from all the bikes that have been over this. It's pretty fun vehicle to drive. And this Gen 8 V2, I know we didn't talk about the price point earlier, but it's $299. So pretty good entry point into this hobby. You could spend twice as much and not get the feature set this Gen 2 gives you. Gen 8 V2. I wouldn't go regular Gen 8 or Gen 7. It's like a $30 difference. Just put the extra $30 down and get the upgrades that come with this. So a whole lot better. Stiffer axles, double shear on the shock mounts and the links. You don't have the belly bump. All that stuff is worked out. Yeah, so this is the railroad trestles We went through them, following his Everest again, and in a minute you get to see the quality of driver he is in this thing. More trash, man. There's always just trash everywhere out here. Really sad. And you can hear his truck kind of whining a little bit getting that. And then he lost sight of it and runs it straight into a tree. Plow it in there, buddy. He was walking through the trestle and couldn't see it, so rather than stop, he just kept hauling. And out there, they're taking some family photos, so we try to skip around that. But this is actually the way out to the car. So at the end of our trail ride, I hit this mud right here, and that's about it. Which is how the wheels and tires got so muddy for this video. That was the last thing I did. But anyway, let's... So what I've got here is Peyton's rig. So this is a Gen 8 pack. I can do it one way or the other, so you can get a little more. This is the Redcat Gen 8 pack, pre-assembled chassis kit. So this is made for builders. As you can see, if you saw my Gen 8 earlier, it's very similar to that. Mine is the V2. This is the V1. So it has the hated belly bump down here that everybody complains about. But at some point, what'll happen is I will get an aluminum skid, and she will get this one. She will get my flat bottom skid. It'll be fine. And a couple other differences between this and mine are the single shear shock points. Let me see if you see them in there. So that's a single shear instead of a dual shear. It's good for some things, bad for others. You can change the shock out a little bit easier because of that, but it's not as well captured. Other than that, it does have my stock ESC, which I pulled out when I did my 1080. Put it right into this. It has the bumpers on it. It has all the stock links, stock panhard, stock tie rod, stock drag link, all that good stuff. Basically the same axles with they're maybe a little less strong than the axles on the V2. They've done a couple upgrades to those. Same running boards, all that good stuff. Anyway, I have already installed the ESC, obviously. So I have a few other things we're going to put in. Let me pull my plate of goods over here. My plate of goodies. This is how I organize my parts. Does anybody else do that? Paper plates make real good parts organizers. And then I'm going to get my my mini screwdriver kit. So working on the Gen 8, what you need most is a T8 and a T6 star bit. You could actually just use the I'm trying to say the hex. You use hex, Allen's, but I prefer the stars. Use my star bits. He's got my T6, my T8 out here. So a little more detail on what we're putting in. This is the stock 550 Redcat motor that is going to be hers. That came out of my rig. I purchased the exact same stock servo that is in my rig for her. This is only like $12 on Amazon. Super cheap servo, 25 kilograms. I don't really know how to convert that number. Most servos are measured in ounce inches, which is the number of ounces if you place them an inch from the moment arm, from the shaft. If you place it an inch, the number of ounces which would cause it to stall, which you normally want to shoot for somewhere in the 300 range. This is 25 kilograms, so I looked that up. It's 25 kilogram per centimeter. So that would be something like 2,000 ounce inches. There's no way this little servo is 2,000 ounce inches. So I don't know how they're getting that number, but it's a decent servo. It's real stiff, and this metal servo horn actually came with the pack kit. I have a plastic servo horn on mine, so my V2 didn't even get a metal servo horn, but hers did. Then I also have the stock Redcat radio receiver that's going to go in, and I have the wheels and tires that were stock on mine that I took off for the Incision machetes. She's going to get those too. So she gets the hand-me-down parts. That's okay. It's her first truck. She doesn't need anything super fancy. All right, well, let's get started here. We're going to start by taking off the spur cover on this, which is located up front. Right here. It's just one screw. Take the spur cover off, and we're going to expose the spur gear here in the transmission. There she is. So you see the plastic spur gear down here. Wires in the way. Plastic spur gears in here. I'm trying to look for it on the camera. Anyway, Oh, so Colton, what a servo does. I'll show you on Nikki's car because it's real easy to see. Nikki has the axial Capra. Oh, all right. So that there in the front is the servo. It is responsible for your steering. See how that arm moves? And it moves the drag link, which moves the tie rod, which moves both tires. It's a very important part of the vehicle. And the important thing about a servo in these cars is that the tires are large. And being so, it takes a lot of force to turn those tires. And if you get them pinched in a rock and you're trying to push your tire into that rock, but that also means lifting your 10-pound freaking vehicle and you're wedged in there, there can be a lot of force. Something on my foot. There can be a lot of force trapped up in that arrangement. So it's really important to have a firm servo, otherwise you're going to burn that sucker out. Yes, Yuri is not gaming tonight. My bad. Other obsession got in the way tonight. I'm hoping that people like these videos so I can use them as an excuse to wrench on these cars more, because it's a whole lot of fun, man. I love wrenching. I get that from my dad. We always wrenched on everything, or I did, and he taught me. So it's his fault. I blame him. I blame him for these expensive wrenching hobbies that I have. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this motor in first because I want to get it in before the servo. And I'm prepping over here where you can't see a little bit of Loctite. I'm using some blue Loctite. This is going to be a metal to metal adhesion here with these screws. So perfect opportunity to put a little Loctite on and make sure this motor does not come out on its own. All right, so there are two screw holes and two fake holes in this motor. And because I know how it goes in, because it's a Redcat, and they want the Redcat logo to show up top, I know how they want the holes. So I'm gonna kind of estimate the holes to be in this area. Yep, we hit it. We hit it. No, we didn't. Maybe not. Hit it. Oh, we did now. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to tighten these up a little bit, not all the way, because we're going to put the pinion gear on before we get that all the way tight. Thank you, Jerry. I really enjoy this, man. This is I don't know about some people, but for me, wrenching on something like this is super relaxing. This is definitely a hobby which I can lose myself in. It's like a puzzle all the time. I love this kind of stuff. So super fun for me. It may not be for everybody, but by God, it is for me. Okay. I'm gonna take these motor wires and wrap them around the shock mount because I know what's coming later in this pack kit, and what's coming later, hopefully, is some fender wells. And, well, wait a minute. I may have to do it this way. We're gonna run it on the side. Really don't like doing that because these motors can get warm, but I don't want to take the wires out of the pack yet. So I'd rather we'll run them on the side over here. It'll still be nice. They do have these little, you can't really see these channels, but there's a channel right in there for wires. And I'm going to put some fender wells on this like what are on mine. And that channel will actually be enclosed by the fender well. So nice little place. Okay, we've got that. Let me dig up my pinion gear here. I got a stock 17 tooth pinion gear from Redcat TeamRedCatShop.com, authorized Redcat distributor. I bought some stuff directly from Redcat. Takes a long time to come in, but it's good parts. So I bought some stuff from Team Redcat to see if it was any better, and it is a little bit actually. I'm pretty pleased with their ship times. Oh, don't open it with your teeth like I do, but I will do it. Come on now. Okay. So I've got a pinion gear and a retention screw. So my pinion gear will go in here. It goes the other way. I'm going to get it close. This is an adjustable mount. So I want to make sure there's a little bit of play in there, but not a lot. Let me get a little screwdriver. I'm going to put a little screwdriver behind it to kind of wedge it back forward. Where are you, little screwdriver, you? Come here. Have these nice bins full of hand tools. Anyway, I'll bring that a little bit forward because what I'm looking at is the alignment between the pinion and the spur. I also want to make sure I don't lose too much shaft up front, because if I do, I won't have anything to grip on when I put this retention screw in. I'm going to check and see the size of this retention screw. Yeah, it's a T8. Get the T8 out for this retention screw. There she is. And I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on this as well. Nothing worse than having your pinion gear back out on you, especially with... Actually, this motor, I need to look at that. That reminds me, my Holmes Hobbies does not have a flat, but I'm pretty sure this one does. Here, you. Man, it's a stout motor. Yeah, there's a flat for this. Heck yeah, man. My Holmes Hobbies does not have a flat. It's just a round shaft. I'm going to tighten this up on the flat real quick, just to keep it flat. Is it? Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to try to get it lined up again because I'm out of alignment with my spur. All right, so it's nice and tight between the pinion and the spur gear. I'm going to tighten that lock up a little bit. That shouldn't go anywhere. It is a noisy drivetrain, not going to lie. It's a little bit noisy. So while we have this opportunity, we're going to put some grease on this thing. You never want dry gears on dry gears. So I'm using some Quicksilver Extreme high performance grease. This is actually recommended for Mercury outboard boat motors. And the reason I'm using it for that is it's a moly grease, and it is nice and water resistant. So it's a nice water resistant grease. I don't anticipate driving through a bunch of water with these. I try not to, in fact. It's really bad for all the components, no matter how waterproof they say it is. Oh, you know it, Colton. It is nice and tight. Anyway, it's really bad for the components, no matter how waterproof they say it is. So I just want to make sure I get that extra level of protection. All right, we're going to tighten up these plate gears. You'll notice it has a metal motor plate, which is not super... Oh, man, that's maybe a little too tight now. It's not common. I'm not going to say it's not uncommon, but it's nice. We'll say it's nice to have a metal motor plate for this. Come on. How hard do you want it? I'm going to put my finger back here so I don't over tighten this. There we go. All right, yeah, we're turning gears now. She's tight, but that's good. It'll wear in. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the transmission cover on, which is, again, just one screw. Sits over the metal plate. It attaches with just this one screw in the front, if I can get it in there. And then we'll plug her up. And then the next thing we're going to put in is a servo in the front. All right, she's in there. I'm going to have to buy another one of these, in fact, because I don't like it. It's actually broken. I must have over-tightened it at one point. So what I think I'm going to do is when I get a metal transmission case for mine, I will give her my plastic cover. Because I really do want to go all metal gears in mine. It's so heavy. There's so much force on it. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, now let us put a servo in the front here. I'm going to install my servo with the horn in this orientation. You can tell it should be in this orientation based on divot in the top here. See that? I don't know if you see that divot. There's a divot right there where the wires are actually supposed to go for this servo, because it's made specifically to fit this Chinese cheap servo. I don't know why they did that, but thank goodness, because it's so cheap to replace. Ah, get in there. Get in there, servo. There you go. Flip her upside down again, and then we will. That's fucking yeah. There you go. We'll put 4 screws in this servo, and then we'll attach the horn. I'm gonna get my screwdrivers out of the way real quick. Okay. Again, we're going to use our T8-bit, and we will not use Loctite on this because this is metal to plastic. And I actually learned that if you use Loctite on a metal to plastic connection, you could do more harm than good. It's never a good idea. It can actually cause the plastic to become brittle, which will then be detrimental to the longevity of your plastic component. When you go to take the screw out again, it might just crack and bring all the threading with it, and that wouldn't be very good at all, now would it? I don't think so. Okay. Come on now. Get in there. Oh, I need a screwdriver. Not a screwdriver. I need a little mini drill. But you gotta have one with a not a chuck. What do they call that thing? With the variable torque settings, I guess it would be. Because on this plastic, you could strip it out in a hurry. All right. Last screw to put the servo in, and then we're going to move on to the receiver box because we've got to have something to plug these things into. So I'll open up the waterproof receiver box here in a second. Just going to put this in and then attach horn. There's near center. All right, there's a little bit. I'm probably gonna put a little Loctite on this, and it's a sin a bit, but I'm gonna use a screwdriver to put it on because I'm not gonna lie. I had this servo in here at one point for testing, and I thought, man, I'm not gonna take that back out for any reasons, so I put Loctite on it. Well, it's tight. It is locked good and tight now. So it doesn't want to come to the brass bushing because of the dry Loctite. So I'm putting a little extra Loctite on there for this run, and we're gonna screw her on down. Ah, it's coming all the way around on me. Don't want to do that. Get my steering in a bind here. Come on now. Almost. Tighten it up till we can't anymore since this is a metal on metal connection. There we go. That's nice and good. Again, one screw you don't want to lose is the one hooking your drag link to your servo horn. Alright, so yeah, this servo is going to be able to push way past the endpoints here, so we're going to have to be careful about that. Anyway, there's that. Servo is installed. We're going to run some wires for the servo. Actually, again, these I think I want to put. Yes, I'm going to put these in the channel because I know on mine factory that's where they were. All right, let's flip it around, and we're going to open up this receiver box. Two screws on this receiver box. They're of the M6 variety, or not M6. They're a T6 screw. I think they're an M2 variety. I don't know how many millimeter, but they are a cap head screw. The nice thing about this Redcat stuff is it's all really M6 or M8 drivers. You don't really have to go switching around a bunch of stuff. So, one thing you will notice is pretty cool about this waterproof box they have. I've already pre-installed these little pigtails, but you actually can you create plugs on the outside, so you don't have to keep taking this receiver box off every time you want to do something. It's kind of nice. You know, shout out to Redcat for designing that well. Alright, so we put the antenna through the antenna hole. And then what I'm going to do is, so this receiver box sits like this. I'm going to make the front one the steering servo and the back one the motor. So number channel 1 is going to be back one, and number channel 2 is going to be the front one. That makes the most sense to me. That's what we're going to do. Okay. I'm going to flip that on its side, kind of tuck these wires in, tuck them underneath. Again, this is not a real waterproof box, but it is better than just letting it flop around in here somewhere, that's for sure. Never want it to flop around. All right, before I forget what we're doing, I'm going to put one in the number 1 hole, or 2 in the number 2 hole, which you'll notice there's different color codes here. I'm assuming orange is equivalent to white. However, I have no real idea. I'm hoping for the best. All right, put that screw back in. And then we're going to put some fender wells on this thing. Got the electronics all in now. We've got a pinion gear that functions. That's all handy dandy. Now, so for some aesthetically pleasing things, I got these Redcat Racing inner fender wells from teamredcatshop.com. Nice quick shipping. And these are the inner equivalent of where the what am I thinking of? Where the Velcro will mount. Yes, that. So there's rears and fronts. Now, one thing none of this stuff comes with is screws. So luckily, TeamRedCatRacing.com has. Actually, you know what? There are 2 screws in this thing. There are 2 screws in this bottom shock mount. Man, I really don't want to take both of those off at the same time. That seems like a terrible idea. But you know what's going to happen? Exactly that. Yeah, man. It is similar to putting a computer together. I'll give you that, dude. That is, I've done many of those. And, yes, it is very similar to that. Only there's far less instructions. I can basically put the computer together in my sleep. Maybe not even sleep. Maybe, like, I could maybe be, I don't know, worse than sleep. Something worse than sleep. And still put a computer together. However, there's a little bit more cognition involved in this for me. I have to think about it a bit, but it is a lot of fun. Both are just as fun, but I'll say this hobby is cheaper, sir. Computers can get expensive, man. The ones I've got sitting in front of me were a pretty penny. That is for true. Alright. Let me get that back in there. I have got it around my shock because that is how these work. And there's also a long bolt that we're going to need, but I don't really have one. I'll look to my junk bag. Maybe I have one in my junk bag. I have a bag full of junk that I carry with me, just in case I break something on the trail. Never a bad plan to have extras of things. And again, this is a plastic-to-plastic connection, so we are not using Loctite. Alright, so there's 2, but there are 4 screws here. What am I to do? Well, I went to Amazon and I bought a gigantic box of these screws. Because you never know when you need a bunch of screws. They've taped this thing shut. How convenient for them. Come on now. It even comes with an Allen driver. Not that I'm going to use it at all. Thank you, iXL from Amazon.com. By the way, I'm not sponsored for any of this. I paid for these things, so don't think any of it is free. It's just worth paying for. Now, I did not get black anodized. Obviously, I got stainless. I don't care. It's fine. Oh man, I didn't think about that. The stainless are magnetic. Okay. Didn't even think about not being magnetic when I purchased them. Maybe I should have got the black anodized. Now I feel like a bum. All right. Now, you line up and do work. It doesn't want to line up with the shock tower at all, really. Why are you being such a punk, eh? I might have to loosen the bottoms. Let me loosen the bottoms a bit. See if that helps. Let me get the bottom loose a tad. You ever have to loosen your bottom? And I'll tell you who knows how to make a good video. If you have time and you're interested in rock crawling, RC rock crawling, that is. Ah, no! Go check out John Holmes, Holmes Hobbies. I keep talking about his motors, but he makes great videos too. Dude's super smart. He has a real way with the camera. Great guy. I'd love to meet him. I think we'd hang out and have a good time, but then again, what do I know? All right. How come you don't want to go in, eh? You want to go in your, you want to go to your home? Too good for your home, screw? Yes. Man, it really does not want to go in there. I'm trying to see what's going on here. It looks like it's just not lining up. Let me take these out a little bit more and get a little more flexion in this here configuration so I can move it around a tad. These holes don't seem to be precisely aligned. All right, maybe. Where you at? Where you at? I'll know it when I feel it. Come on now. Missing. Acts like it wants to go down and to the left, but there's like nowhere to go with it. There we go. There we go. Got it. Thinking, man, hopefully I bought the right size screws. However, I did look up the diagram on these, and I looked at cross-reference the part number and the sizes, so I knew these were the right screws. It wanted to mess with me a little bit. It's gonna look real nice. Ah, man, it's not magnetic. Where'd she go? Where did this screw go? It's all the way over here. It bounced out. Why didn't you tell me? Okay. Here we go. There we go. That one's not lining up either. Come on now. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Trying to catch it the right way. I don't know which way I'm off though. That's the problem. Can't see it. Just can't see it. Gotta guess. And these are not pre-tapped, so I'm going into an untapped hole. I love an untapped hole. Back this one out. Maybe if I get them all four a little halfway in, we can get there. Feel like it's gonna have to come down a tad. And then again, I don't know. Don't laugh at me, Colton. Colton will remember a time at work which I fixed a leak in the roof. He'll give me a real hard time for it too, I imagine. It was a similar scenario. Come on now. I know there's a hole in there. Where is it? Why don't you want to go? I'm going to get my trustiest flashlight out, which is just my phone. Super trusty. All right. Looks like I'm too high. Haha. Wrong state. Let's see. Looks like I'm too high. Let's hit low. We'll try to pry it up a tad. Things are just going to be difficult, aren't they? But they're worth it. They're so worth it. I promise you they are. Because they look so good. Everything's so nice and lined up. Totally not worth it. Back these out a little bit more. I may have to take this bottom screw out completely to get this done. May have to go tops first. That may be the way to do it from now on. Tops first. Yeah, I'm going to say tops first is absolutely the way to do it from now on. Let me take these bottom screws out. I thought I was going to lose the shock tower, which is kind of why I didn't do that initially. Now I can see what I'm doing. Ah, yeah. Helpful. Come on now. You can do it. There we go. There it goes. We bit. We got her now. It only took me 15 minutes for one fender flare. Woo! See what the next 15 minutes brings. Maybe I can make it up. I hear my kids going crazy in the other room. That's not going to be good. Yeah, they're almost all in there. And then I will have to find a retention screw for the front, but that's okay. I'm not super worried about that one. It's pretty solid without the screw. So this is the one I'm talking about, that screw right there. There's an extra screw. It's kind of long that goes into the running board. I'm not super concerned if I don't get one in there. I think 4 is plenty to hold these plastic parts in. Don't really need a screw right there. I mean, I get why. It's for if it gets hit on it, it doesn't bend, it doesn't flex. Adds rigidity to the frame, but still. Getting tight here. Absolutely is. Don't want to over tighten it. Even though this is high nylon plastic, it can still be stripped pretty easy. Even by hand with this little hand screwdriver, which is not the easiest screwdriver to turn, but still can have its downsides. One last one in the back of the frame. Oh, tell me that isn't a screw. Ah, I left a screw in there. Ooh, burn. What an idiot. Ah, there's a screw in here. There's a screw in the back of the frame rail that has to come out in order to accommodate this. I forgot. So you know what that means? I get to take 3 of these screws back out, everybody. What do you think? What do you think of that? Yeah, I know what you think of that. I'm stupid. Welcome to No Instructions. There aren't any instructions. Where we're going, we don't need instructions. We just want to put 6 screws in this fender flare. Apparently. Oh, I don't have to take all 4 out. I can get to it from here. Thank goodness for plastic flex. Okay, there's the culprit. There he is. I know for the next one. Will not have that problem twice. You watch. I will. Alright, put this one back in. I've made my stupid mistake for the night. There it is. We got it out of the way. Now I gotta find the hole again. There we go. It's easier to find once it's threaded, so not too bad. Put these screws back in. All right. Come on, line up, bud. There it is. So I think if I make another one of these videos, I need some sound effects on tap. I think some sound effects would be great. What do you think? Could find a lot of ways to use sound effects in this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're on point now. Fender flares, ho! Alright, 1 down, 3 to go. But now that I know how to do it, I'm going to do the other side, so I don't have to learn anything new. The other side in a second. Get out of there. One thing about these star bits is they don't want to come out of the hex holes sometimes. They just want to stick in there, but that's another reason that I like them, because they do want to stick in there, and it makes it easier sometimes. Other times, though, it wants to take your bit. It wants to keep it, but it can't have it. Okay. 1 shock mount. Oh, look, they even did that. That's so handy dandy. They put spots for magnets. I don't know if they've done that in my Gen 8 V2, but if you can see here, there are 2 little divots. So that's typically where the Velcro goes, and it looks like they've already pre-marked it for magnet insertion. That's cool. Because they know that people really want to run magnets. They don't want to be doing a bunch of stuff with Velcro. It doesn't last forever. I still use Velcro on mine. It's fine. I will eventually convert it to magnets, but I'm really not going to do it till I work out a couple of kinks with the interior. know what the ride height's going to look like. Then I will go magnets when I can absolutely count on it, and I'm not going to make any more changes. But until then, it's going to use a stock Velcro. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull all three of these screws out because these are the culprits that got me earlier. And we will find the well for this side. There she is. Let's go ahead and get the top screws in while I'm looking at them. I can press a little harder. There we go. That's so much easier. Lesson learned. Learn from my mistakes. Put the top ones in first. Take all the bottom ones out, put the top ones in first. That way you can see where the holes are. Come on, boys. There we go. There we go. Man, no problem at all. Way better. Okay. Now let's get the bottoms lined up. I gotta line this hole up. There's gonna be a little bit of tension in it. This kind of has to flex down into it. It doesn't want to go on its own, so the screw will hold it in place, but it's got to kind of be pushed. Okie doke. There we go. Yes. Where are you at, hole? Get in there. There we go. One more, and then we'll tighten them all down, and we'll move on to the front flares. And then we'll put some tires and wheels on, which that's super easy. But notice the caps are on here. We're going to put these caps back on, and totally gives it a nice scale look. Where are you back home? What are you talking about, Colton? Did I say that? Said, are you too good for your home? You ever seen Happy Gilmore? He talks to the ball. He's like, you don't want to go in the hole? Are you too good for your home? That's how I feel about these screws. Did I say that? Wait, I might have said that. I don't remember what I said, man. Dang it. I say so many stupid things. I can't even remember the stupid things I say anymore. About tight. Quarter turn there. We'll do this one, and then we'll move on to fronts. Hang in there, everybody. We're almost there. It's going to be a long week, though, of parts for this thing. I'll show you some of the parts I have for it before we call it a night. Let's move on to the fronts, and I'm going to start on this side. Let me survey the land here. So there are, again, 1, 2, 3 screws that come out. That goes over it as so and back in. So basically the same setup as the rears. Same in the front as the rear. Oh, I did say, where are you, back hole? You're right, Colton. I sure did. There's nothing else. You get to hear me talk more stupid in these videos than when I play video games. That's for sure. And let me know, for sure, if you guys like this. I love doing this stuff. I would be happy doing this on camera every day. I wish someone would pay me to do it. Speaking of supporting, if you would please like and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/NerdDadsLair. Check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/NerdDadsLair. Give us a follow, show us you care. We'd love to see you guys become part of the Nerd Crew. The Nerd Crew keeps expanding its horizons. I definitely like this stuff. So, let me try to get this in here without having a magnetic screw problem again. So the issue with the fronts is the shocks are kind of in the way for this. Not as friendly, but you kind of veer them out of the way if you get one at a time like this. Nice shot of the links down there. Showing you my undercarriage. I don't line up. There we go. We hit the hole. First shot. Oh, I got another one. I already pulled 2 screws out, and then I pulled a third one out for no good reason. All right. See if we get these frame ones back in. Yeah, I'd say the fronts align a little easier than the backs. Almost there. That one's always the toughie. It doesn't want to find its place. There it is. I might be coming at too much of an angle. That could be the issue. Where are you at? Right, problem? Let's see. See what we can see in here. I don't see anything. Huh, it went that time. It just needed to be reseated. That one. This one. This one. One more fender well left. That first one was just a headache, but after that, it's gone pretty well. Top ones are tough because they are not threaded yet. This is the first time a screw's been through them. Don't want to go. You got to know when to stop too, because being that they're not threaded and they are tough, you kind of can't get a feel for when you're going to strip it out. But we're not going to strip it out. We got this. And if we do, no one will ever know. Haha. Peyton's not going to run this thing hard enough to ever have a real problem out of it. So. Okay, we're going to flip this one over this way because I had such good success at this angle with the other front one. So, if you'll notice, this one is the one where we're going to pin a wire behind it because there's a little channel back there. Makes sense to go ahead and hide it while we're at it, not afterwards. Pull these 3 screws out in the frame. Put this other fender well in, and then we're going to put some wheels and tires on, and then I'll show you some other components that we have that came in today for her project. I'm pretty excited to put it together, show it to you guys. It'll be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun for me, so, and a lot of fun for her to drive, I think, afterwards. And the other cool part is her and I will have so many interchangeable parts. It will be really handy if she breaks something. Be much easier than if we had 2 different kinds of rigs and I had to buy parts for 2 different things. That wouldn't be any good. So all right, get that. This one's a tough one because it's behind the spring pocket. It wants to kind of, don't want to go, but you get it kind of in an angle, it'll be fine. Yeah. So much better when I reuse the lessons I learned. All right, now let's find. Enough. I don't want to go to the front here. Enough. One more screw. It's gonna be a tough one. Come on, man. There we go. There we go. You found it. That down. Pop in there. Yes, there you go. You can tell there's some good nylon content in this plastic. It's good and flexible. It doesn't want to crack. Pretty good. Hats off to Redcat for the build quality on such a cheap rig. This kit was only like $130. I did have to supply electronics, and all of these components, like these fender wells, were optional. So there was a lot of optional component that I added. But as a base stock chassis, it was very cheap. As far as that one goes, one last screw, put some wheels and tires on it, and then I'm going to show you some cool stuff. Show you my jack in a minute. It's a really ghetto. They do make actual RC lifts. I do not have one. Okay, so you see we've got all of our inner fender wells in. There will be outer fender wells attached to the body to match those. Super excited to get that done, which should be happening in the next couple of days, actually. I'll show you some of the components I got today and tell you what all we've got coming here in a minute. Let's put some tires and wheels on real fast. This is a pretty simple procedure. In fact, I might do it on its side so you all can see it. Normally don't do it in this orientation, but it's better for you guys. All right, so again, have my stock licensed Interco Super Swampers here. Now these are directional, so you want to make sure the tread goes in the right direction. So I know that one will go and this one will go, so that's correct directionally. Then I have my 7mm socket. So you take this little cap off here, which is cool, and then of course you put your pin and your wheel hex in here. I put my tension pin and then my wheel hex on. And then you put the tire on, retaining nut, good and tight on there. I don't like to let the motor hold that. I like to hold the tire and do it. And then once you're done, you actually put this cap back on. And it's really cool. It has a nice little finishing touch where you don't see a bolt in there. Pretty handy. Handy dandy. I like it. Alright. 3 more tires and wheels. And wheel. Nut. Da-da-da. Other side. I'll start with the rear here. In X. Okay, so the orientation for this is still correct. I think I stacked them in the right pattern. I think I'm off in the right pattern, so I stacked them back in the right pattern. There. Then the cap back. And one last set. We'll power up real quick when we're done to make sure everything functions as expected. I don't have any batteries for the transmitter right now. I'm not gonna run it, but I just want to power it up and make sure the servo twitches. All the stuff that I expect it to do. On there. This wheel. Move it over so you can see me do this. Go. Ah. All right, one last cap. Okay, so there you go. Redcat Pack Chassis Builder's Kit with electronics now, full electronics, wheel wells, tires, wheels, pinion gear. Let me pull out battery for this real quick and we'll power it up just to make sure it works. The first time it's had any juice. Thing looks good. You know what? I think we are gonna power this receiver up. Let me take some batteries out of mine because I want to make sure it works. I don't want to put anything. I don't want to have any questions here. 4 AA batteries later, and now I have to remember that because mine didn't work. We have the stock radio. Nothing special about this stock radio. It's just a rebranded Fly Sky. Basic 2-channel radio. Nothing too crazy. Flip it up, keep it on. Then we'll power this back on. Ooh, I've got the channels backwards. It steers with the trigger now. Okay, well, that's an easy fix. Means I did this number. I'm radio into it right now. Okay, that means I did that. Yes, she turns. She's noisy, but that's okay. We got servo actuation. I'll probably have to change the steering rates, that kind of stuff. But it looked pretty good, man. I would say. I may have to change some stuff about where the horn starts. But we'll get down the road. It'll be fine. Ooh, she drives. Okay, sweet. Fully functional. Take all that apart. I'm gonna have to harvest my batteries back out of this controller. Don't want to have that. All right. So, just dropped some stuff. Let me grab a box real quick, everybody, and I will show you a couple of things, and then we're done for the day. I know you've been hanging in there. So I'm gonna move this chassis out of the way. Man, that's nice. I like having 2 of these. Okay, so my plans. I got my plans. I'm gonna put a bunch of things out here to show you. I have a bunch of stuff. This all came from teamredcatshop.com. Man, I like that. That's metal. It's gotta be metal. I don't know. Say? No, it doesn't say. Stuff. I have a bunch of stuff. Alright, but the piece de resistance is this. So this is the body. You may not be able to tell, but this is a Scout 2 body. This is the Scout 2. I'll try to wrap it out a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, this is a Scout 2 like mine, exactly like the purple one, except for its chop top. So it has a truck bed back here and a roll cage. So it comes with all the pieces to assemble a roll cage. It also comes with seats and a steering wheel and all that good stuff, and it's all black. The body is clear. I do need to paint it. I have paint coming tomorrow, which is why it's not painted yet. It's going to be glitter bubblegum pink with black accents because that's what Peyton requested. So that's what it will be. But I do have this clear body kit that is going to need some painting. I have the outer fender wells. I have the structural supports. I have the fender flare kit. I have the front grille and all the light buckets, which is terrific. And then I also got the fabric top. So it goes on top of the roll cage and finishes it out with a roof. I think it's going to be a really fun build. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but definitely worth it. I like that we're going to have matching red cats. It's going to be kind of cool. So anyway, please, if you haven't yet, like and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/NerdDadsLair. Go check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/NerdDadsLair. Let me know if you guys like this. I really enjoy doing this kind of thing. I could talk about what I'm doing when I'm wrenching for hours, obviously. I like showing you some video. I'm hoping maybe this weekend we get some better, different videos. Probably go out to the same spot, but we'll have more people. So it'll be an interesting time. And like I said, let me know if you like this. We'll do some more. I think Jeremy, J-Dog, has some pretty good video of his Everest 10 he'd like to show you. So shout out to you, J-Dog. Hopefully you get that mixed down and done for these guys. But until next time, we will catch you nerds later.